Reserve Bank of India has decided to leave interest rates unchanged at 8%. Today I'm joined by Dharmakirti Joshi from Crisil in Mumbai. Now, what do you think of the bank's more dovish tone in response to the government's call for help to revive economic growth? And do you think we could actually see a rate cut in the first quarter of next year?
Well, I think the tone of the central bank did turn dovish because the inflation has come down much faster than expected, and the dovish tone is an acknowledgement of the fact that the inflation is gliding down on the path that RBI expected. And I think what they have also done is that they have said that by next year they could cut interest rates if inflation remains in this trajectory, and the probability of that is quite high, looks like. And we also expect central bank to start cutting rates around the budget time or soon after the budget time, when RBI has more information on the inflation path as well as on the fiscal health of the government. So we could see a 25 basis point rate cut sometimes in the first quarter of next year.
How successful do you think the government will be in implementing fiscal and structural reforms next year?
Well, I think it's a slow process, and as far as the fiscal reforms are concerned, government has set up an expenditure commission which will submit its report sometimes early next year, and then that will get implemented, which will essentially advise government on what kind of expenditure restructuring they need to do. Their fiscal target for this year is 2014-15 fiscal year is 4.1% of GDP, which is quite stiff, and they are trying hard to meet that. And where I think they're lacking is they have not been able to do divestments as they had planned. The other reforms in fiscal reforms would relate to subsidy reduction in food, in petroleum. We've already seen subsidy disappear in diesel and petrol, but it is still there in kerosene and housing gas, and that is where I think government needs to start. So they are on path towards a lower fiscal deficit, but I think to attain targets, the most benign thing they could do is to implement goods and services tax, and because that will lift GDP growth as well as bring raise the government tax revenues so it is an efficiency enhancing tax. If that happens, then I think we are on track for a continued reduction in fiscal deficit over the next 2 to 3 years.
And do you think the rupee is in a better place now to withstand the impact of a Fed rate hike?
Absolutely, because if you look at the current account deficit is below 2% of GDP right now. We expect current account deficit at 1.5% of GDP. That was one vulnerability indicator which led to jittery capital outflows. But I think so. From the vulnerability point of view, I think our requirement of foreign funds is lower today with the lower current account deficit, and India is no longer in the fragile 5 category. At the same time, the ability of the economy to attract capital has improved because it has got a strong government, and the prospects, the sentiments look much brighter. As a result, so both the things will work in its favor. Whenever the Fed rate hike happens, it will create some ripple effects, and India is in a better position to withstand that, and we will definitely see some currency volatility around that time. But once the dust settles on that, the investors will take a differentiated view, and I think that is when India is likely to look more attractive. So I think we are definitely better positioned to take a global shock at this juncture from the Fed.
Thank you very much for your time today. As always, a pleasure speaking to you. Well, viewers, do stay tuned as we have plenty more just like this heading your way. Goodbye for now.